You have a soul. Isn't that the best news? You have a soul. God, I hope you know that. You have a soul. Your soul is your deepest, truest self. It is this silent land within your own body. Like sitting in the pew right where you are right now. Did you know you are containing a soul? This silent land within your own flesh and blood body. Where God has planted God's divine spark. Your ground and God's ground, one ground. You're being poured into life. Minute to minute. Right this second. You have a soul. And your soul, mine too, is like a wild animal that longs to be free. You ever seen a dog? We're in the bluegrass. You ever seen a dog or a horse? Huh? Set free first thing in the morning, like back door kicked open, gate to the pasture kicked open, and the animal runs straight across the field for no reason at all, without a care in the world. You watch the horse, perhaps, gets to the far end of the pasture, makes a wide arc, and comes around running breakneck speed, mane in the wind. Your soul longs to be that free. Free simply. Doesn't this juice you up? Free simply to receive the love of God as it comes to you. Through prayer and meditation, maybe. Through other people. Through nature. The love of God as it comes to you through the sacraments of the church. As it comes to you from Jesus Christ himself. Your soul longs to be free, to receive, to run, to roam about. If you remember nothing else, and this sermon's not that great, so you might not. If you remember nothing else, when you hit the streets today, baby, just remember, I have a soul. And it longs to run free. You also have a mind. You have a mind. I do too. And your mind and mine are gifts from God. Hear me say that. Gifts from God. Your mind helps you do all the things that you do. Your mind very helpfully differentiates right from wrong. Your mind also, don't let me hurt you, has a shadow side. Actually, y'all look like the enlightened bunch. My mind and the rest of humanity's minds has a shadow side. The shadow side of my mind is that it keeps my soul constrained and less than totally free to run and roam about, like that horse across the field. And the way my mind imprisons my soul, you ready for it? Is by constantly registering for the record my likes and dislikes. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? The mind likes to comment on everything. And by registering my opinion constantly, whether silently or aloud, my mind locks my soul up in the prison cell of my discontent. You have a soul. And it longs to be free. It's a hard thing to describe what I'm trying to describe. And I don't know that I'm doing it well. But a man called me recently with a story that I think helps put what I'm trying to say maybe on the street level. This is a man that I've known my entire life. He's in the construction business down in Georgia, where I'm from. He's my age, and he's very good at what he does. He's a naturally curious man like you all, and he's always learning, and he yearns constantly to discover the pathway to inner peace, to soul freedom. And he called me long ago to tell me a story about how he stumbled on his journey to set his own soul free. He and an older woman, he said, who's a mentor to him, had just arrived at a job site, new construction, to meet another contractor with whom they might do some work. And while they waited on this other contractor to arrive, my friend and his mentor looked around. And my friend, this man, studied the siding on the newly built home. You know what I mean by that? The wood siding that wrapped the home. He studied it, and his eye got caught on several imperfections in the work. Do you know this feeling? His mind got hooked. And after a little while of pointing out in his own mind all the imperfections in the work, he said to his friend, his mentor who was standing right there, "That's got to be the worst siding job I've ever seen in my entire life. It's terrible. Look at it." And the woman didn't respond. For several seconds, maybe several minutes, he said later, she didn't say a word. And then she said, "Well, that comment there just makes you look bad, doesn't it?" He said, What do you mean?" he said. She said, Is that the kind of energy you want to put out into this morning? Into this world? She very calmly said, "We just got here. We pull up, get out of the truck, sun's out, remarkable day this morning already. We don't know anything about this job, these people, the people who've worked here. And that's the first thing you say. How terrible it is." I said she was his mentor, right? Which gave her office to say this: "I thought you were looking for inner peace, offering your unsolicited critique ain't gonna get you there, is it? Not very generous," she said. Then she said, "Are you looking for inner peace? Do you want to be free?" He said a very kind of broken yes. She said, "Huh." And that was that. And that was that. And you know, he could have been hurt. He could have been offended, mortally perhaps wounded by his mentor's sort of rebuke. But he called me up to offer that story because he wasn't hurt. He said I was helped. He said to me softly, I was humbled as she showed me how I was getting my own way by offering critical commentary about something that did not need my commentary. And then he said to me softly, Hendree, you know, the further I go, I realize most things don't need my commentary. And then softer still, he said, I want to be more generous. And the power of that story, a part of the power of that story is that he was likely objectively correct in his assessment of the sighting. I didn't see it, but I know this guy. He knows good work. It was likely not a good job. But his mentor's point was, what good did it do? How did it make the world a more habitable, peaceful place for him to point that out, to add his negative commentary to the moment? When he got out of the truck, his soul, like yours, longed to run about a new place, to roam free, to soar on the breeze that blew through the North Georgia afternoon. But it was as if he pushed his own soul back into the cab of the truck, shut the door, locked it, and started his critique, his litany of likes and dislikes. And the reason I'm telling you all that story is because it resonates with me. I am not him, but he tells my story. I want to set my soul free. I want a peace that I can feel inside my body that is not dependent on exterior circumstances. And praise Jesus, the gospel promises that inner peace is possible. Now, careful here, you can't make it happen, but it can be received as a gift from God when we stop complaining, offering our commentary to every moment. You see, today's parable, among other things, is about the destructive power of criticism and complaining. Some of the workers, it's a well-known parable, you're probably like me, you hate it too. Some of the workers wear the landowner out for his generosity. We give a cry, that's not fair. And all their complaining, our complaining does, is harden their own hearts and cloud their vision. See, when they assume a critical stance, anybody ever assume a critical stance? When they assume a critical stance, I know this from the way it feels, baby, they can't see the generosity of the gifted moment. When they assume that critical stance, they can't see that every breath and heartbeat is pure gift. We don't deserve to be alive. We haven't earned our heartbeats. We didn't buy our breath. Come on, baby. It's better than that. It's all gift. It is all gift. We are alive on this grand adventure, on this remarkable planet, in this magnificent galaxy, in this astounding universe, because of the infinite generosity of God. So I get, does this fire you up? I get to love you. Oh, Joyce, I get to love you because God gave me life. Should you choose, I'm not keeping track, you get to love me. You get to love each other. You see, God designed our souls in such a way that we naturally hunger for God's love, for intimacy with God and each other, unto union, for freedom. And so the parable says, would you dare? That's a challenge. Would you dare to be satisfied with the particular gift of your own life without complaining about what you don't have and what your neighbors do have? Did y'all hear that? Would you dare? Do you want to set your soul free? Do you want to be that horse galloping across the field? As one fella says, without a why. I do. I do. See, the parable reminds me that when I see the generosity of God playing out in your life, the only appropriate response is awe and silence. And if I must speak, say simply, wow, I am so happy for you. This is not a call to passivity. This is not a call to passivity. This is a call to the harder work. You see, the world needs people who are doing the hard work of not commenting on everything they see, who are led by their souls, not their crazy, opinionated heads. I really love being alive. I have a sense that you do too. Let's let our souls run free. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try not to comment on the siding. What is your siding? What's the thing in your life when you roll up to it, you're like, oh, sweet God, who did that? And if we succeed, then we will be contributing to the health and well-being of the community, because when I don't offer my critique, there is space for you to be free. So the old adage fits. Does it need to be said? Probably not. Does it need to be said right now? Probably not. Does it need to be said by me? Probably not. Jesus says, just love what's right in front of you. Be grateful. Be generous. Let your soul run free. You have a soul. You have a soul. Amen.